So, Manchester United face Porto in the Europa League tonight. It's going to be a big game for Manchester United and a big game for Erik ten Hag. And this could be a crucial game for Manchester United because it can decide the fate of what Erik ten Hag's future is going to be at Manchester United. Firstly, let's get into the details of what kind of players we're going to be expecting at both ends of the team and what's the situation going to be like at Manchester and what's the situation going to be like at Portugal. That's where the home game is for FC Porto. So let's have a look at the squad first. So Manchester United have a lot of injuries. They've recently gotten Mason Mount injured. In the last game against Tottenham Hotspurs, they had some sort of head injury with Mason Mount, and he's taken a knock as well. Luke Shaw is expected to be out for a long time. He's received another knock during training or maybe something like that, and well, it doesn't seem to me like there's going to be a left back for Manchester United sooner or later. It's probably going to be after the international break. That's where I think Erik ten Hag is going to suffer a lot, and maybe that's the crucial point where he might get sacked after the international break. But that's all speculation, of course. But it does seem to me like that's going to be really tough. So let's have a look at how Manchester United are expected to play and how they played against the last team they faced, which was Tottenham Hotspurs, and the last team they faced in the Europa League, which was FC Twente. So let's have a look at the squad first. I believe, so this is a squad. It was Andre Onana, Matheus de Ligt, Lisandro Martinez, Diego Dalot on the left, and Nusayr Mazraoui on the right. A midfield of Manuel Ugarte and Kobe Mainoo playing as the holding midfielders in the double pivot role, and Bruno Fernandes, of course, as the attacking midfielder who got a red card. Bruno Fernandes' red card got disallowed, and he's expected to play all the next 3 games against Aston Villa, Brentford, I believe, and I think it's Aston Villa, Brentford, and West Ham. Yeah. So these are the 3 teams that he's going to be facing as well now. Rashford as well on the right, on the left, and Garnacho on the right, and then Zirkzee as a striker, of course. So a little bit into the Manchester United squad. Firstly, Ten Hag has got to make a lot of tactical changes in this match. If we need a win, if Manchester United do need a win this game, they're going to have to make a lot of tactical changes. First up, I think I have been against this whole thing after the Sir Alex Ferguson years have gone by. During the Sir Alex Ferguson time, of course, he used a formation called the 4-4-2, where there's a four players on the back line, 2 fullbacks and 2 centre backs, of course, and then 2 wide players, left mid and the right mid. Of course, that was filled by Cristiano Ronaldo and I believe it was Ashley Young in the last few years. And the midfield, of course, was filled. The 2 striking positions of Robin van Persie and Wayne Rooney. 4-4-2 or a 4-2-4 formation is something which is used in the past. I don't think any modern team which is, competing in the Premier League or even in any of the big leagues like the La Liga or anything, set aside Atletico Madrid, of course, they shouldn't really be playing in the 4-4-2 formation or 4-2-4 formation. I believe, this is just an opinion, this is just a strong opinion. I think the midfielders, their job these days in the current modern era of football, it's very tough, it's very tactical, it's more advanced than it used to be. The midfielders have a lot to do around the pitch. They have a lot to they have every blade of grass to cover as well. For example, let's go ahead and look at the FC Twente match. We'll just pull up the stats and everything for it. Of course, so 19 shots on target for Manchester United and 5 shots on 19 shots in total and 5 shots on target, and FC Twente had about almost the same on shots on target. It was 3 shots on target and 3 shots total. United did have a lot of the possession, 57% of it. Passing, I think, could have been better. The pass accuracy was almost on par, 86 and 80. That was majority of how the stats were in terms of passing and possession based. The squad was almost the same. Instead of Kobe Mainoo playing as the midfield pivot with Manuel Ugarte, it was Christian Eriksen. He was the one who gave the goal to Manchester United. Also, he made the crucial mistake of giving away the pass. Alright, so a lot of people are saying that Christian Eriksen was the one to blame for the passes that were being made. Of course, he was the one to blame in the match, but something to point or something to note that was there was also the midfielders. As I spoke right now, the 4-4-2-4 formation or the 4-4-2 formation, it takes a lot. It's a lot on the midfielders' heads. It's literally a lot. You cannot give the midfielders so many positions to cover. You're giving them the central areas to cover while they're pressing up forward with the high press. You're giving them the responsibility and role of tracking back. You're giving them the role of covering the wide areas of the pitch. It's too much. The midfielders have various responsibilities on the pitch for Manchester United, and of course it's not an excuse because even teams like Liverpool are expected to do all of that and cover all those pitches and the sides of the pitches, and it's not an excuse for Ten Hag. Of course, it's got to do a lot with the tactical mindset of the manager and individual players as well. So having a look at this squad of Manchester United, we'll be having of course a lot of changes because Mason Mount, I believe, won't be there. Midfield could be changed. I think we could be seeing Casemiro playing alongside of Manuel Ugarte to making it a little defensive team because let's have a look at FC Porto's stats as to why Manchester United should be playing a lot defensively tonight. So FC Porto currently setting second on Liga Portugal. They have a goal difference of 13, goals attained rate of 3 goals, and goal for is 16, which is the second highest in the league, and which is of course they're setting second on the table. They're 3 points away from the league leaders, which is Sporting FC. And having a look at the players, let's have a look at the player stats. Galenko is the highest goal scorer for FC Porto with 5 goals, which is a lot, and Francisco Moura with 3 assists for FC Porto. And seemingly, and from the way how I've seen the matches and the way how they've played, seems like FC Porto will have a really good time on the pitch against Manchester United because it's going to be really easy for them to move past the defense of Manchester United. And of course, we've seen the matches against Spurs and FC Twente, how Mickey van de Ven and a lot of the FC Twente players were moving just forward with the ball. For example, we were talking about Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen's mistake wasn't really a mistake, but he had a lot to cover. He had a lot of ground to cover. He had a lot of responsibilities on the pitch. I remember seeing this one position where Christian Eriksen was on the top right of the pitch and bottom right of the pitch, and he had to cover the defenders going up forward. Coming from here, Eriksen was looking forward at the defenders he was looking at the forwards and trying to mark them, and the defenders ran past Christian Eriksen, made the pass to the forward, which Christian Eriksen did intercept, but then he lost the ball, gave it away to the FC Twente players, and then they marched on forward and they pressed on ahead with a goal. Of course, this is something that I highly would tell Ten Hag. You got to set these players up with something which they're good at. Christian Eriksen, you've got to figure out, it's something to do with age as well. A lot of players, they age, they go down, they have the gestation period where, there are a lot of things about Casemiro also going on, that his legs stop working. A lot of factors like that as well. Players stop moving faster, players, lose their ability to pass the ball, their vision becomes less and lesser. It's got to do a lot with that. In terms of pressing as well. Christian Eriksen is pretty old. He's on his way to the 30s. He's on his way to the 30s mark. Of course, he's not going to be playing those many games, of course. Something to note as well is that player profiles do not match where they need to be at. Having said Manuel Ugarte, not really a good deep-lying playmaker or a good passer. He's a good destroyer, of course. Same goes for Casemiro. He's not really a good deep-lying playmaker or a passer. He's just a good classic defender, like if you've seen in the Real Madrid days how he used to break up the play and not really passing the ball around. He had Luka Modric and Toni Kroos to cover up the places where he lacked. of course, but we don't have those players. We don't have Toni Kroos or Luka Modric in those positions to cover those areas specifically. Looking at the other midfielders who can back Casemiro in this position is Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Meno or Mason Mount, of course, injured. Eriksen, I don't really have high hopes for Christian Eriksen. I think Manchester United should sell the dead wood like Christian Eriksen to in the January market to wherever he wants to go to get in some money, of course, the cash flow. Players like Christian Eriksen, Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw, they all should be going and leaving the club because, of course, they're very injury prone or they're too old to fit into the club. Secondly, having a look at the profiles, as I said before, Fernandes plays more of a shadow striker, covering the roles of Rasmus Højlund. Not covering, but he's playing alongside of Joshua Zirkzee or Rasmus Højlund. That's something that I don't really agree with in Ten Hag's tactics because the players, sure, the way how he's performing, the way how he expects the players to perform is going to be good. It's great. Maybe the tactical mindset where Ten Hag wants to put it, the implementation, I mean, it's not really there. We can see, I mean, there's an idea, but it's not being implemented, as I've said on my previous videos as well. So maybe Ten Hag needs to change his tactics, or if Manchester United looking at the board hierarchy, they need to maybe change the management. They have a lot of couple of managers in the market, but we'll get to that maybe in the next video or something. But talking about the match and facts, I think in tonight's game we're gonna have to see a couple of changes in the midfield. I don't know if there should be a change in the forward lineup. Alright, see, I saw a lot of chances created by Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho. A lot of chances being created against Spurs. A couple of chances there being created against FC Twente. Something which I don't really agree with is maybe Rasmus Højlund being on the bench a lot. I think he should start. Alright, so I'll explain this one bit thing, of course. Tottenham Hotspurs, they have a habit of playing the players wide. If you saw the players, Christian Romero was over here on the side of the pitch, and as well as Mickey van der Ven was over here all the way on this side of the pitch, hugging the touchline, not exactly hugging the touchline, but close to the wingers, to the wing backs, Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie, who had an amazing game against Manchester United. That was amazing and pretty well played against both of them. Well, I mean, Manchester United should have exploited that, the spaces that were being created against them. And a player like Rasmus Højlund, a poacher, I think that would have been really great for the team. A link-up player like Joshua Zirkzee, I don't really rate Joshua Zirkzee that much. I mean, sure, no doubt, he is an amazing player. I think this is quite a bit of a hot take, but I think Joshua Zirkzee is a better squad player than Rasmus Højlund. But Rasmus Højlund is a better striker than Joshua Zirkzee. That's because Joshua Zirkzee is someone who will, track back, get in touch with the midfield, link up the play, pass the ball around a lot. And when moving forward, he's going to do the same, pass the ball around a lot. Against Spurs, we did see a pass Joshua Zirkzee making to Marcus Rashford, which could have led up to a goal, of course, but Rashford didn't really finish it properly. But yeah, I mean, players like Rasmus Højlund should be, making the playing 11 list of against teams like this. I mean, I would personally prefer to see Rasmus Højlund start and then see Joshua Zirkzee maybe coming on being second fiddle to Rasmus Højlund. Of course, it's a tie between both of them. It just depends on what kind of profile does Erik ten Hag need and what type of profile is best suited against a team. And a team like Spurs or a team like Twente, I think against a team like Twente who were sitting with a low block, a mid block, not even a low block, Joshua Zirkzee was needed more. And against a team like Spurs, where they used high line, they pressed well. They had a very narrow line of play. The players were very narrow. They were quite spread apart. Easily could have been countered by Manchester United attacking forwards, but we didn't make use of that. So I think in tonight's game, depending on how Porto play, judging how they're playing with the amount of goals that they've conceded. See, in the league, they've just been able to concede they just conceded about 3 goals, and that's the second most lowest number of goals that's been scored. Sporting being number one, and the number of goals is of course pretty high at 13, and that seems like a lot. And let's have a look at their Europa League. Uh, the Europa League, right? Right, yeah. So Porto did lose their first Europa League game, which is against Bordeaux Glimt. Sorry if I got that wrong. Yeah, I mean they put up a lot. They gave around 28 shots and then had 9 shots on target. I mean that's a lot for a team like Porto, and they've been scoring goals consistently, and they've been performing well. They've been consistent in their league. So I think United need to be a little defensively more aware in this game tonight, and try to figure out how they can get past the Porto defense, because considering the goals that they've conceded, see, in this entire season for Porto, they've conceded just 6 goals, 3 in the Europa League and 3 in their own league, which is Liga Portugal. So it's about 6 goals conceded, and Manchester United have conceded way more than 6 goals. So I believe they should go for a couple, players who are pretty defensive, someone like Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte. Um, Going forward with them should be Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. Back four should be the same as the Spurs game, or maybe if Harry Maguire is back from his knock. I don't think he was there in the match because he had a knock. If he's there, maybe Dilic can be dropped and Maguire could be played instead of him. But back four, I'm going to go with the same Dalot on the left, and maybe Dalot could switch to the right because again. The run which Mickey Van de Ven made, and the goal which he assisted to this guy, what's his name, Brennan Johnson. Dalot was supposed to be tracking back and covering Brennan Johnson, but he didn't for some reason, and that's something to do with the mentality, as I said before in a couple of videos before back, and I think it's something United should look thoroughly into the defensive attributes. So maybe the backline could be the same. Casemiro and Ugarte could start alongside of Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. I prefer to have a link-up player like Joshua Zirkzee in this match, only because Porto do have a pretty good squad, and if they decide to play a low block like how most teams are playing against us this season, and try to decide to play a 4-2-4 or 4-4-2, causing a narrow line between the midfield or the forward area, and not allowing many passes to go through, then I think maybe Joshua Zirkzee is your man. But if the team is attacking pretty high, if the team is playing at high press and playing pretty well, so well, you should go for Rasmus Højlund, a poacher. That's what the team would need to press forward and attack. And as for the wingers, I'd go for Rashford and Garnacho, or maybe drop Garnacho and play Amad Diallo, because either all three of them have been playing pretty well consistently, but of course they haven't scored any goals in the last 2 games. And yeah, I mean that's about it. United just need to score a couple of goals. We need goals. United just need goals to stay on top. We have to stop conceding and score more goals. This is the league now. It's we have to do it. If Ten Hag wants to change some tactics, it's got to be the 4-2-4. I don't. This is my personal opinion, but if the players can't cope with the 4-2-4, either they need to try harder, or maybe just change the formation altogether. If the manager is too rigid to listen, the board, it's up to you. Really, it's just up to you. You can sack the manager, you can get rid of the staff, you can get rid of anything, but you need goals. Of course, you need goals to win matches. I mean, I've seen us play pretty well. We've done good. In the start of the season, we looked pretty fresh before the Liverpool game and a few games after the Liverpool game, which is the Barnsley game, of course. We looked pretty good. We were looking hot. It was good, but things dropped off. Maybe it was a lack of confidence after the FC20 game. So can't really say. It's really up to Ten Hag and his players on how they want to play. But we have to drop this 4-2-4 formation. So I'll just tell you my formation again and the players that we need to play. So we'll be playing in a 4-2-4 formation. We'll be playing in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Onana as a goalkeeper, back four being the same of Dalot, Mizrahi, Delict, and Martinez. Midfield is going to be a little defensive: Casemiro, Ugarte, and Bruno Fernandes. On the right, we're going to have Garnacho. On the left, we're going to have Marcus Rashford, and up front, we're going to have Joshua Zirkzee. And the bench is going to be the bench, of course: Diallo, Højlund, Anthony. Of course, Mason Mount is not there. We're going to have Kobe Mano. Kobe Mano is back from injury. We're going to have Christian Eriksen on the bench. Toby Collier, he's going to be good. Harry Hamas, I don't think we're going to see Harry Hamas, but we'll have to see. I mean, when he comes on, when he's ready to play according to Ten Hag. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. That's going to be the starting 11 for Man United tonight. And I'm going to be making another video tonight. It's going to be the post-match analysis on how we've played the match tonight. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in a bit. And GGMU to all the Man United fans.